I was 23 years old when my father looked me dead in the eyes and told me I was nothing without the family name. We were standing in his office, that massive corner room on the third floor of Mitchell and Associates, the marketing firm my grandfather had built from scratch in the 70s. The leather chairs smelled like money and old cigar smoke. The walls were lined with awards, framed newspaper clippings, photos of my father shaking hands with mayors and CEOs. My older brother Devin's college diploma hung in a gilded frame right behind the desk. Mine was somewhere in a drawer at home. "You're making a mistake, Sarah," my father said, not even looking up from the contract he was reviewing. A massive mistake. I just told him I was leaving the company, that I wanted to start my own business, that I'd been saving money, and I had a plan, and I needed to do this for myself. He finally looked up, and the expression on his face wasn't anger. It was pity. Somehow that was worse. "You really think you can make it out there on your own?" He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "You've never had to work for anything, Sarah. Everything you have, every opportunity you've gotten, every client who's ever taken your call, it's because of this last name. Because of what I built. What your grandfather built." "That's not fair," I said, hating how small my voice sounded. "I've worked hard here. I've brought in good campaigns, You've done adequate work," he interrupted, "with the full weight of this company's reputation behind you. Do you know how many of your so-called clients only met with you because I called in favors? Because they owed me something?" My stomach twisted. "That's not true." "Isn't it?" He stood up, walked around the desk. My father was a tall man, imposing. He taught me to ride a bike and to negotiate contracts, but I never felt more like a child than I did in that moment. "You want to leave? Fine. But don't come crawling back here when reality hits you. Don't expect me to bail you out when you can't make rent, when your little boutique agency fails, when you realize you're nothing special. You're average, Sarah. The only thing that makes you exceptional is us." I felt tears burning behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "I'm doing this." "Then you're doing it alone," he said flatly. "You walk out that door, you're cut off. No more family money. No more connections. No more using the Mitchell name to open doors. You want to be independent? Be independent. But don't expect me to watch you fail and pretend I'm proud of you." My mother was worse, somehow. I went to their house that evening, hoping she'd understand. She'd always been the softer one, the one who braided my hair and told me I could be anything I wanted. I found her in the sunroom, arranging flowers in a crystal vase. "Mom," I said, "did Dad talk to you?" She didn't look at me, just kept adjusting the roses, turning them this way and that. "He did. And I think you're being selfish." Her voice was calm, measured. That's how I knew she was really angry. "Your father has given you everything. This family has given you everything. And you're throwing it back in our faces because of what? Pride? Some naive fantasy about making it on your own?" "It's not a fantasy," I said. "I have a business plan. I have savings. I have clients who believe in me. Those clients believe in the Mitchell name," she snapped, finally turning to face me. "Do you know what people will say? That you couldn't cut it in the family business. That you're too weak, too soft. They'll see you as a failure before you even start. And when you do fail, it reflects on all of us. On your father, on Devin, on this entire family's reputation. What about what I want? What you want?" She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Sarah, you're 23. You don't know what you want. You've been handed everything on a silver platter your entire life, and now you want to play at being a struggling entrepreneur? It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing us." I'd never heard her talk like that before. Never seen that look in her eyes, like I was a stranger, like I was something distasteful. "I thought you'd support me," I whispered. "Support you in what? Humiliating yourself? Humiliating us?" She turned back to her flowers. "If you're determined to do this foolish thing, then do it. But don't expect us to watch. And don't expect us to be here to pick up the pieces when it all falls apart, which it will." My brother Devin was the final nail in the coffin. I met him for coffee 2 days later, at that place we used to go to after school when we were kids. I kept hoping that somehow, He'd be different. That he'd understand. He showed up in a suit, fresh from the office. He'd always looked like our father, same strong jaw, same calculating eyes. He ordered a black coffee and sat across from me with his arms crossed. "So you're really doing this," he said. "I am." He shook his head slowly. "You know what? I'm not even surprised. You've always been impulsive. Always needed to be special, to stand out. But this is next level, even for you." "Devin." "No, let me finish." He leaned forward. "Do you have any idea how hard Dad and I have worked to build the company up? How many hours, how much stress? And you've been there, what, 2 years? Done some mid-level campaign work, smiled pretty at clients, and now you think you're ready to run your own show. I've done more than that, and you know it." "You've done exactly what we told you to do," he said coldly. "You've followed instructions, executed plans that other people made. You're a decent account manager, Sarah, but you're not a visionary. You're not a leader. You're not Dad." That one hurt. I'd spent my whole life being compared to Devin, trying to measure up, trying to prove I was just as smart, just as capable. And hearing him confirm what I'd always feared, that I was less than, that I'd never be enough, it felt like being hollowed out. "You'll see," I said, but my voice shook. "I'm going to make this work." "No, you won't." He said it so matter-of-factly, like it was already decided. "You'll struggle for 6 months, maybe a year if you're stubborn. You'll burn through your savings. You'll lose whatever small clients you managed to scrape together. And then you'll come back, tail between your legs, begging for your old job back. And you know what? Dad might not take you back. He's not big on second chances, especially not for people who disrespect him like you're doing." "I'm not disrespecting him. You're rejecting everything he's built, everything he's offered you. That is the ultimate disrespect." Devin stood up, left a $10 bill on the table. "Good luck, Sarah. You're going to need it. But don't call me when this blows up. I've got enough on my plate without managing your mess." He walked out, and I sat there in that coffee shop for 2 hours, staring at my cold latte, wondering if they were all right. Wondering if I was making the biggest mistake of my life. I rented a tiny office space in a building 40 minutes from downtown. It was all I could afford. One room with a window that looked out onto a brick wall, a second-hand desk I bought off Craigslist, a folding chair that squeaked. I bought a laptop with my own money, printed business cards at FedEx, created a website using a template. I called my business Ember Creative. Something about rising from ashes, starting fresh, all that metaphorical nonsense. But I liked it. It felt like mine. The first 3 months were brutal. I reached out to every contact I had, everyone who'd ever said they appreciated my work. Half of them didn't respond. The other half sent polite rejection emails, budget constraints, already contracted with another agency, maybe next quarter. One of them, a woman I'd worked with on a campaign the year before, actually called me. "Sarah, I'm going to be honest with you," she said. "I'd love to work with you, but I can't risk it. Your father called our CEO. He suggested that you're unstable, that you left Mitchell and Associates because you couldn't handle the pressure. He said anyone who works with you is taking a big risk." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "He what?" "I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have told you, but I thought you should know. He's actively working against you." I hung up and cried for the first time since leaving. Not sad tears, angry tears, betrayed tears. My own father was sabotaging me. My own family wanted me to fail so badly, they were willing to destroy my reputation to make it happen. I didn't eat properly for weeks. Lived on ramen and coffee, worked 18-hour days cold calling businesses, sending pitch emails, refining my portfolio. I lost weight. Stopped seeing friends, not that I had many left after I left the company. Most of them had been work friends, and they'd chosen sides quickly. I was alone in that tiny office, with my squeaky chair and my dwindling bank account, starting to wonder if everyone had been right about me. Then, in month 4, I got my first client. A small nonprofit, a women's shelter that needed help with their fundraising campaign. They couldn't pay much, but they were willing to take a chance on me. The director, a woman named Maria with tired eyes and a kind smile, told me she'd found my website and liked my pitch. I don't care about big agency names, she said. I care about someone who actually gives a damn about our cause. Someone who'll work hard. That's you, right? I almost cried again. That's me. I poured everything into that campaign. Worked nights, weekends, didn't charge them for half the hours I put in. I created social media content, organized a fundraising event, redesigned their website, reached out to local media. And it worked. They exceeded their fundraising goal by 40%. Maria was thrilled. She told everyone she knew. She wrote me a glowing testimonial. And suddenly I had 3 more clients. Small ones, local businesses, nothing glamorous. But they were mine. I'd earned them. 6 months in, I hired my first employee, a recent college grad named Jessica, who was scrappy and creative and willing to work for less than she deserved because she believed in what we were building. 8 months in, I moved to a slightly bigger office. 10 months in, I had 8 clients and was actually paying myself a salary. I didn't tell my family. Didn't call to brag, didn't send updates. They'd made it clear they wanted nothing to do with my embarrassing failure, so I gave them what they wanted. Silence. But I checked Devin's social media sometimes, late at night when I couldn't sleep. Saw photos of him at company events, at conferences, always with our father beside him. The perfect son. The golden child. The one who'd done everything right. I didn't miss them. That was the surprising part. I missed the idea of them, the family I'd thought I had. But the actual people, the ones who'd told me I was nothing without them, I didn't miss them at all. Year 2 was when everything changed. One of my clients, a sustainable fashion brand I'd helped launch, got featured in a major magazine. The article mentioned me by name, called Ember Creative, an innovative boutique agency making waves in ethical marketing. I woke up to 17 emails from potential clients. 17. I hired 3 more people. Moved to a real office with multiple rooms and furniture that didn't come from Craigslist. Started turning down projects because we were too booked. Raised my rates. Then raised them again. Jessica became my creative director. I hired a project manager, an account executive, a graphic designer. We weren't just surviving, we were thriving. We were becoming known for being the agency that actually cared, that did good work for good companies, that wasn't just about profit margins and corporate clients. A local business magazine reached out to interview me for their 30 Under 30 feature. I almost said no. The attention made me nervous. But Jessica convinced me. You've earned this, she said. Stop hiding. The interview came out in November, almost exactly 2 years after I'd left Mitchell and Associates. The headline was Sarah Mitchell, building an empire without the family name. I thought that was a bit dramatic, but I liked it. The article talked about my background, about leaving my family's company to start my own business. I'd been honest with a journalist, told her it hadn't been an amicable split. She'd asked if my family was proud of what I'd accomplished. I don't know, I'd said. We don't really talk anymore. The article went semi-viral. Got shared all over social media. Apparently, people loved an underdog story, loved the idea of someone walking away from nepotism to make it on their own. My inbox exploded. So did my phone. One of those calls was from my mother. I stared at her name on the screen for 5 rings before I answered. Hello. Sarah. Her voice was tight. We need to talk. About what? About this article. About what you've said about this family. I sat down at my desk, looking out the window of my actual nice office with its actual nice view. I didn't say anything that wasn't true. You made us look like villains. Like we drove you away. Do you have any idea what people are saying? No, I said honestly. What are they saying? That we're terrible parents. That we sabotaged you. That we're threatened by your success. It's humiliating, Sarah. Your father is furious. Something in me hardened. You know what was humiliating, Mom? Being told I was nothing. Being told I'd fail. Having my own father call my potential clients to warn them against working with me. That was humiliating. There was a long silence. He didn't do that.
He did.
I have proof. I have the emails, the phone records. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Another silence, longer this time. He was trying to protect you. To show you that you needed us. By destroying my business before it could start? By showing you reality. I laughed, and it sounded harsh even to my own ears. Well, here's reality. I made it anyway. Despite all of you. Despite everything you did to stop me. And I'm not sorry that the truth is embarrassing for you. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to actively sabotage your own daughter. Sarah. I need to go, Mom. I have a meeting. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking, but I felt lighter somehow. Freer. Devin called next 2 days later. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Hey, it's me. Look, that article, that was unnecessary. You didn't have to air our family business like that. Dad's really upset. Mom's upset. This isn't just about you, Sarah. Your choices affect all of us. Just call me back. Let's talk about this like adults. I deleted it without responding. My father didn't call. He sent an email, formal and cold, with a subject line, disappointment. I read it once. It was 3 paragraphs about respect and family loyalty and how I'd betrayed their trust by speaking publicly about private matters. How I'd always been ungrateful, always needed attention, always had to make everything about me. How they'd tried to help me, guide me, and I'd thrown it back in their faces. The last line said, "You've made your choice. You chose your pride over your family. I hope it was worth it." I archived the email. Didn't respond. Didn't cry. Just went back to work. Christmas came and went. They didn't reach out. I spent it with Jessica and some of my other employees, people who'd become friends, who felt more like family than my actual family ever had. We exchanged silly gifts and drank cheap wine and laughed until our sides hurt. It was the best Christmas I'd had in years. Year 3 was when we really exploded. A major beverage company approached us, wanted us to handle their rebrand. It was the kind of client Mitchell and Associates would have killed for. The kind of account that could make or break an agency. They'd considered my father's company, they told me, but decided they wanted something fresher. Something less corporate. "We want the agency that cares," their marketing director said. "That's your reputation. That's what we want." The contract was worth more money than I'd made in my first 2 years combined. I hired 6 more people. Moved to an even bigger office space in a better building downtown. Started getting invited to speak at conferences, at universities, at industry events. People knew my name now. Not because of my father, not because of my family, because of me. Because of the work I'd done, the company I'd built. When I walked into rooms, people listened. When I pitched ideas, clients got excited. I'd become exactly what my father said I could never be, someone who mattered on my own merit. The real twist came in year 4, at an industry awards ceremony. Ember Creative had been nominated for Small Agency of the Year. I didn't think we'd win. We were up against companies that had been around for decades, companies with bigger portfolios and more prestigious clients. But I went to the ceremony anyway, wore a dress I actually felt good in, brought Jessica and some of my team. We were sitting at our table, halfway through dinner, when I saw them. My father, Devin. A whole table of people from Mitchell and Associates. They were nominated too, in a different category. Of course they were. My stomach dropped. In 4 years, I hadn't seen them once. Hadn't been in the same room with them. And now here they were, 50 feet away, and my father was staring at me with an expression I couldn't read. "You okay?" Jessica whispered. "Yeah," I lied. "I'm fine." When they announced our category, my heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. The presenter opened the envelope. Said the winner. Ember Creative. Sarah Mitchell. The room erupted in applause. Jessica screamed. My team was hugging me, pushing me toward the stage. I walked up there in a daze, accepted the award, looked out at the audience. Found my father's table. He was clapping, slowly, mechanically. His face was stone. Devin wasn't clapping at all. I gave a short speech. Thanked my team, my clients, everyone who'd believed in us. I didn't mention my family. Didn't say anything about where I'd come from or what I'd overcome. I didn't need to. Everyone in that room already knew the story. When I walked off stage, I saw my father stand up. For a second, I thought he was going to walk over, going to say something. But he just turned and left, Devin following behind him. They walked out of the ceremony before the next award was even announced. Let them leave, I thought. Let them miss this. They'd already missed everything else. The real moment came 3 months later. I got a call from an unknown number. Almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Sarah Mitchell? A man's voice, professional, unfamiliar. Speaking. My name is Robert Chin. I'm the VP of Marketing at Horizon Brands. We're a Fortune 500 company looking to consolidate our marketing efforts with one primary agency. We've been watching your work for some time now, and we're very impressed. We'd like to set up a meeting to discuss a potential partnership. I sat down. Horizon Brands was massive. The kind of client agencies dreamed about. Yes, absolutely. We'd love to meet. Excellent. I should mention, we did speak with Mitchell and Associates as well. But to be perfectly frank, we found their approach outdated. We're looking for innovation, for fresh thinking, for what you're doing. After we hung up, I just sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. They'd competed for the same client, and I'd won. The Horizon deal was finalized 2 months later. It was the biggest contract Ember Creative had ever landed. We had to hire 15 more people, had to move to a whole new floor in our building. We were approaching 60 employees. We had clients in 12 states. We'd been featured in national publications. I was 30 years old, and I'd built an empire. I didn't gloat, didn't send the article to my family, didn't post about it in a way that would rub it in their faces. I just kept working, kept building, kept proving to myself every single day that I was enough, that I'd always been enough. But news travels in the industry, especially big news like landing Horizon. My father called me. Actually called after 4 years of silence. I answered on the third ring. Sarah. His voice sounded older, tired. Congratulations on the Horizon account. Thank you. That's a big deal. A really big deal. I know. Silence. Then, listen, I was thinking maybe we could have lunch. Talk. It's been too long. You're doing well, obviously, and I think maybe it's time we put the past behind us. You're still my daughter. Family is family. I felt it then, rising up in my chest. Not anger, not bitterness, but something clearer, stronger, understanding. Dad, I said quietly, do you remember what you told me when I left? You said I was nothing without the family name. You said I'd fail. You said not to come crawling back. I was trying to, and then you actively sabotaged me, called my potential clients, told people I was unstable, tried to destroy my business before it could start. I thought I was helping you see. You thought you were proving a point, I interrupted. You thought you could force me to fail, so I'd come back and admit you were right. But I didn't fail. I succeeded. Not because of you, not because of the Mitchell name, but in spite of you. Despite everything you did to stop me. Sarah, that's not fair. I'm your father. I love you. No, I said, and my voice was steady. You love the idea of me as long as I fit into your plans. As long as I stayed small, stayed grateful, stayed in your shadow. The moment I wanted something for myself, the moment I became my own person, you turned on me. All of you did. Mom, Devin, you. We were worried. You were controlling. And now that I'm successful, now that I have something you want, connections, clients, a reputation that's starting to rival yours, suddenly you want to have lunch. Suddenly, I'm your daughter again. Suddenly family matters. That's not. It is, I said firmly. And you know what? I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need your support or your connections or your name. I don't need anything from you. I built this on my own, exactly like you said I couldn't. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of doing it without you. Sarah, please. You're my daughter. Can't we just? You made your choice 4 years ago, I said. You told me I was nothing. You told me not to come back. So I won't. I removed myself completely just like you wanted. And I'm better for it. Happier. Freer. More successful than I ever would have been in your shadow. You can't mean that. I do. And I did. I meant every word.
Goodbye, Dad.
I hope you're proud of Devin and the company. I really do. But I'm done trying to earn your pride. I'm done trying to prove myself to you. I already know what I'm worth. I hung up before he could respond. My hand was steady. My heart was calm. I felt no regret, no second thoughts, no urge to call back and apologize. Just peace.
Just certainty.
I'd removed myself completely, and in doing so, I'd found myself. Jessica knocked on my office door a few minutes later. Everything okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Not a ghost, I said, smiling. Just finally closing a door that should have been closed a long time ago. Your family? Former family. She studied my face. You're sure? No regrets. I looked around my office, at the photos on the wall, my team at our company retreat, the awards we'd won, the thank you notes from clients whose businesses we'd helped grow. I looked at the view outside my window, the city spread out below me, full of possibility. No regrets, I said. Not a single one. And I meant it. They'd said I'd never succeed without them, so I'd removed myself completely. Cut every tie, walked away from every comfort, stepped out from under the safety net of the family name. And I'd soared. Not because I was special or exceptional or born with some unique talent, but because I'd been willing to bet on myself when no one else would. Because I'd worked harder than I'd ever worked, because I'd refused to let their voices in my head become my voice. Because I'd proven, day after day, project after project, client after client, that I was enough. They'd wanted me to fail. They'd needed me to fail, to prove that they were right, that I was nothing without them. But I hadn't failed. I'd succeeded beyond even my own expectations. And that success, built on my own terms, earned by my own efforts, defined by my own values, that was sweeter than any approval they could have given me. I removed myself completely. And in doing so, I became completely myself. That was the only revenge I needed.